Yes, we want to welcome everyone to another edition of our Halftime Chat R&B podcast as we go through the album of Intro, the Davey album. But just before we start, Stevie, Mr. Vijay, how you guys been?
Good evening, good evening.
Evening, guys. Evening, all.
We've got
Very
a big
well.
album tonight, a very big album.
Maybe the biggest '90s album, R&B album ever. I mean, I think it's up there.
Collectors, one for the collectors anyway.
Definitely one for the collectors.
One for the collectors.
One for it actually. I mean, when it came out in '93, it definitely it was something different, something unique. It was almost like a lot of hip hop beats that you associate with hip hop and the stuff that Eddie F and Untouchables were doing, but over R&B vocals. Quite interesting, quite different, and it was and then the magic of Kenny Green. A lot of us were used to Aaron being that dominant voice, but when you had Kenny singing so effortlessly, the lyrics and everything, this was a really special album. We want to welcome everyone that's coming in. NGS man, the Bullets got his show too. Hey Tanya, how you doing? I'm glad you're up. David, how you doing as well?
John,
VJ,
well, Leaky Fresh is here. How you doing, sir?
yes,
Glenn Brown just joined us.
yes. Vijay, what are your memories?
They're eager for this album. It's a big album.
I think lots of people will be eager for this album. I was just having this conversation earlier. Is this the best '90s R&B album ever?
It's up there. It's up there.
It's one of the ones to be. I mean, people mentioned Blackstreet in that conversation. They mentioned the Jodeci albums. Somebody I spoke to, they mentioned the Horace Brown albums and Anthony Hamilton and everything else. But Intro, there was something quite magical about this album. I cannot explain it. When that single Love Thing came out, it might be the best 12-inch ever. To think
the best double A-sided 12-inch we've ever bought.
I think so. I think it's certainly a conversation point. Definitely worthy of being right up there.
Derek from Minnesota, welcome. Got your record in. Yes, thank you guys for joining in. It's when I interviewed Buddy from Intro, and I said, the album certification is still gold. I think it did more than platinum, but a lot of that's label politics. And the question was, if you'd signed to Uptown or Bad Boy, would you have been bigger? And he believed, yes, they would have been bigger, but they would have been poorer because they signed directly to Atlantic. So they made a lot more money being part of the label. But the boutique labels were much better pushing and promoting. And that was one of the things that Intro just didn't get the right type of push that they deserved. Tanya says she's struggling to do a good list of 1 to 10 on this album. Joseph Perry, yes. So I mean, what was your thoughts? I mean, this is the album that really introduced us to the Untouchables, because I know we've seen them with somebody from Peaceful Journey album, because there's some tracks that sound like Someone for Me. That kind of the Vel, his type of production with the with almost like jazz and hip hop. So there's some elements of that, but this is where we saw a lot of the Untouchables, Dave Hall, Kenny Smooth, Eddie F as well, doing a lot of their stuff and really being able to showcase their stuff. So yeah, it's definitely an amazing album, definitely an amazing group. So it'll be interesting to see how well you guys were. 11 songs to fit 10 in.
Everybody that sent a list for the main list at the end, they all sent 11 songs. Not one person sent 10. So I'm just letting you know. Nobody wanted to exclude a single song, so that tells you everything you need to know about this album.
Top 11. And you know what, Nnamdi, I have got a few stories this evening on this one. So maybe not big stories, but just good memories. I mean, the Saturday morning when I was in the import store in Expansion Records, I think it might have been a February. It was a very cold morning, bright morning, very cold. Love Thing with Let Me Be the One, Import 12. I just remember the orange sticker. It was sealed, and it was like, you know, the guy behind the counter played the record, and it was a buy on site. It's like, what? Because I thought normally when at the beginning of the year, there's not many new releases, not many new imports out. It's quiet, but this dropped, and I bought 2 12 inches that day. I walked out with Intro, and I believe it or not, I walked out with a reissue with Gwen McRae. I mean, Gwen McRae, last week passed away, and that 12-inch had All This Love That I'm Giving on one side and 90% of You on the other side. So I walked out. They say I've never forgot that, them 2 12 inches. The album, what I remember the album was, my best friend, DJ Mad Hatter, was playing on the first the first legal black music radio station in Manchester at the time, Sunset Radio, on a Monday night. And I pretty much remember he got a copy mailed from East West about a week before the album came out. It's like a promo copy of the album. So it didn't have like that bonus track on it, Ecstasy of Love. So it had like 10 tracks on it. So when I turned up like a week later with the official import release with that bonus track on, I went, "Have you heard this bonus track?" It's mind blowing.
Lost his
Good
mind.
Memories. Yeah.
What did we make? I mean, as I said, we are big fans of Aaron Hall, but what did we make of Kenny Green vocally when we heard him sing on these tracks? Hey, Dio.
So for me, I think I heard Love Thing on Kiss FM on a Sunday. There used to be a countdown every Sunday, and Love Thing, I think, made it to #1 that week, and I'd never heard it before. I lost my mind. I just couldn't compute how amazing this song was. And the DJ, I think it was Mickey D or Matt White that was doing that at the time, and they said that it's produced by DJ Eddie F. And I was like, what? DJ Eddie F has done this song. They've used this sample. There's these hip hop beats. There's this R&B. What is going on, man? And I was in my head. I was jumping around like a little kid in a candy store. I could not believe how good this song was. And I know exactly where I was when I first heard that song. And there's very few songs that I remember exactly where I was. I could tell you the spot where I was because it had such a big impact on me. So Kenny Green is up there with the very best.
Depending on what city you were from, in London, Love Thing was just huge.
Nothing.
Absolutely huge. But if you'd have been in Manchester at the same time, there's a guy in here who contests to that. Leak, he's down there, he would have been playing it. Let Me Be the One, that's what everyone was playing.
Yeah.
Probably because it was a bit slower. It wasn't as New Jack as Love Thing, but that was huge in Manchester, where I was going mad about Love Thing. And I'm like, why am I not hearing this more on Manchester Pirate Radio or the other stations? So depends on what city you were from.
And the thing with this album is, I would not argue with anybody, whatever song they put in, whatever order, because there is not a bad song on this album. This, for me, is the perfect 90s R&B album. And Jeff Sanders of Intro said something interesting this week. He was saying that Puffy actually got the idea of merging R&B and hip hop by hanging out with DJ Eddie F. So the concept that Puffy did with Tony DeFat, I think it was Tony DeFat, for Come and Talk to Me, was actually an idea that he took whilst being in the studio with DJ Eddie F. And that makes a lot of sense. So props to DJ Eddie F for doing whatever he did. You are the man. So, yeah. Yeah,
but Eddie F will always say that they learned from Teddy. So they all learned from Teddy. But then also when they did say that Puffy was an intern. They brought him into the whole thing, and he was there when they were doing the Albie Show stuff, and he was just there watching and learning. But take it away. I mean, this was if you listen to some of the tracks, you'd be mistaken to think you're not hearing Far Side and some of those New York hip hop groups that were prominent out there. You'd think that you heard the start of it, and so it was a really massive sort of, I wouldn't say it's a risk, it was something new, because it wasn't New Jack, it was something very different. But you also need the writing of the guys, and then vocals of Kenny Green, which was very different, not like the Aaron Hall, R. Kelly, but really just taking it in a very different direction. And so that really also added to what made Intro. It's unfortunately, as I said, a lot of people are showing love tonight, but I don't know commercially if they got their due respects, because I said, I think they were just sandwiched between what Jodeci were doing at the time when they came out and what Boyz II Men were doing at the end. And then Blackstreet had Teddy, who gave it its extra push. So I think Intro just kind of got missed. They just didn't get the massive exposure and push that they definitely deserve.
So I have some thoughts on that. Joseph Perry's just touched upon this. Did Kenny do the demos for Mary? So I can say on good authority that there are demos that exist of all of the songs for this album. I don't know if you can see that. It's Mary J. Blige's What's the 411. So those demos exist. Puffy was the one that convinced Kenny Green to accept, I think it was $100,000 or $150,000 for those songs. Kenny was over the moon, but I think commercially that was the biggest mistake he made, because had those songs, you think about it, Reminisce, Love No Limit, what was it, My Love? If those had made it onto the intro album, can you imagine the impact that would have had on this intro album? I think it would have been the difference between a 500,000, 600,000 seller and 4 or 5 million, because those were big.
Or the other flip side of that is they would have been lost.
I think
maybe, yeah.
I feel like the Mary songs, she's made in them songs, but I suppose that's a debate for the Mary J. Blige album. I don't know.
Yep.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Touching base, just a little point about that. This is the video's a bit funny, but this is Mary J. Blige's What's the 411. You can't see it so well on here, but when it first came out, the album was supposed to be called Reminisce. So on this promo cassette, Mary J. Blige's What's the 411 is called Reminisce, and that links to Intro, Kenny Green, who wrote Reminisce. And that's what I wanted to share.
So
I mean, vocally, they would have sounded better with Kenny Green singing.
Of course, no Kenny. Come on, man, Kenny Green.
Vocally would have sounded better, but would they have been?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that
it's hard. We're just with hindsight, we will never know. But I'm glad. You just be glad them songs came out.
100%. 100%.
I mean, Reminisce was a big record. It was a huge record back then.
But as I said, we have to also not take away the fact that Buddy and Jeff also wrote, and Buddy did say that actually when they did the first album, because of publishing stuff, they said, Kenny, you take most of the publishing, even though we were part of it. So that it was so even though Kenny's name was written, shown, they all contributed writing and musically. But although, because Kenny's name was there, he got a lot of the credit there. But as a group, they did come up, create a lot of the music as a team. But
would you agree or disagree that there is, in terms of the phrase New Jack Swing, I feel there's a couple of tracks on this album that are New Jack Swing, that are an overflow of that sound.
What was that track? I think
which ones, dude?
Anything for You would. I could have imagined Blackstreet or Teddy being part of that. Anything for You.
I'd say the songs with the ones they're playing the lately bass on, which are It's All About You and Why Don't You Love Me. That strong lately bass sound. You could argue Love Thing does have a New Jack feel to it, but it is because of the tempo of it and the sample. You could argue, you know, it's new hip hop soul, new jack. But for me, Why Don't You Love Me and It's All About You, they're pure swing tracks to me.
Interesting you say that, because I had a little conversation with Jeff Sanders earlier, Jeff of Intro, and when I told him that we're doing the new, I sent him the link, and he said, I would argue that this is not new jack swing, this is hip hop R&B. There's a difference. So I'm just sharing what he shared today. So,
but you got Neville Hodge producing half the album, and you can hear all the sounds Neville Hodge had out of new jack swing going on in this album.
I would think, you know, this.
It's the same lately bass sound that he played on, say, a Jasmine Guy record in 1991. It's the same sound.
Yeah.
So the beats might have slowed down a little, but it's still, like I say, we'll get into it as we go through our top 11.
Top 11.
Yep.
Yeah. But before we do it, can I just give a shout out to everybody that's shared interest in this or sent lists in? If it's a bit of a long list, but there's a lot of people that have showed love for this show, if that's okay. So thanks to everybody. If I've forgotten anybody, my apologies, not intentional. Mandeep Panesar, Zach Hussain, Paul Clifford, Kevin Moore, Tanya, who is also known as Miss Intro. I think she's actually the 4th member. Christian Freya,
TN07.
She is. Paul Snoopy Nagel, David Wynn, Saloni Merrock, Andrew Knight, Ross Mortimer, Anil Bondu, Des Chin, Regis Maquette, Christian Hausman, Chris Blackman, Maria Berenice Araujo, Look Within, Nilson Vieira, Omar Hamuda, Gio Parker, Munir Moons, Kelly Mack, Daniel Munoz Plaza, Hitesh Vora, Mr. Keys, Chiz Vidyadharan, Raj Moda, Dylan Wilson, Del Williams, Tama Ben, Robert Galucci, Dadrian Wilson, Swear Benson, Hafiz Abdur Rahman, Bashir Shukane, Manuel Tay Mark, Chris Blackman, Shai Nair, Deshun Perry, Ivan Nikolov, Double J Cool, Raul Pinto, Anil Sharda, Lovell Jones, Roddy Laver, Brian Deaton, Daniel Sharkey Curry, EDD, Peter Weinberg, Marco Ortmeyer, Corey Coons, Oliver Delane, Greg JB, Echo Dejalasil, Antoine Martens, DJ King Raja, Brian Barasa, Wilwado Barleycorn, Balman, Daron Bowers, Jay Gray, Michael Patso, Anjun Sheikh, Omar Sharif, Andres Lipta, Kendra, Nikki Simpson, Abdul Tariq, Jose, Luis Ramos, Manuel Peritz, Nick AR, and Winston Willie Nelson. Sorry for that, but I had to. Everybody has showed so much love for this show. It's a beautiful thing. That's a long list.
Yeah.
Have you finished now?
I'm done. No, I'm done. We can end the show now.
Yeah. Just before we start, I need to give shout out to TN07, which is Tanya. I've rocked with Tanya since I started Halftime Chat, and this was back during lockdown, and both of us big fans of Heavy D and the Boys and Father MC and all that, and she was we were almost getting close to interviewing Prince Marky D, but he passed a few days later. So Tanya's a massive intro fan, but I'm glad you're up a little bit late. So we're going to go into this. So Vijay, big fan of the album. What is your, you want to start off with your number 11?
So I'll start with number 11. I'll say sorry to Last Exit to Brooklyn. Apparently I forgot somebody. Sorry about that. So much love. It's just a very popular album. For me, number 11 is a Kenny Smooth, Darrow Piano Man Whittington, and Kenny Green track. It's called Anything for You. I love it. I feel so bad.
It's at number 11.
It's at number 11. There's no bad songs in this album, so I could put it in any order and I'd be okay with it because it's a perfect album. You can't. But Anything for You is the one. It's the melody. It's you just feel so happy when you hear that song. It's beautiful. I love it.
So we've got Buddy, founder of Intro. Really, 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 really appreciate you here. And you said, we want to show you love and the group and everything. And it's great that you are here with us this evening, along with everyone else. Okay, Stevie, what's your number 11?
Yeah, I'll tell you how strong this album is. I don't know about you, Vijay, but I used to buy 90 CDs. I'd be in the shop and they'd play through, and sometimes the albums would be like, you skip for it and you go, no, and then there'd be one track.
Yeah,
you go, that's the one. And you'd spend £16 whatever import price, and you go home and you knew you bought this CD for one track. Now, if you took any one of these tracks out, say put them on a compilation album, say it'd probably be the best track on the you'd probably buy the compilation just for one track.
Yeah. So many examples of that. So many examples. If
it was another album, like you're saying, just one of these tracks was on there, you'd be buying it for that one track.
Yeah.
And this is, like I say, this goes for any track on the album. So, I mean, it's normally from my like 10 to 8, I'm putting fillers, what I call fillers up there.
Yeah.
There's no fillers.
There's no fillers.
And like I say, to even announce, say what, like you put Anything For You, which I found, I'm astounded by that because that's one of my favorite tracks.
No, I know, but it's just like,
for me, like 11 and 10, I'm juggling the two tracks. I can't, 11 and 10. I might as well just say it's between Ribbon in the Sky and One of the. I mean, I'll tell you why I put Ribbon in the Sky. The only reason Ribbon in the Sky is up there is because it's not an original song they wrote. It's a Stevie Wonder classic. And it's a great tribute to him. But what you got to remember is Stevie Wonder wrote the song. Stevie's vocals will always be far superior. It's that original version by Stevie Wonder will always be far superior. It's like trying to cover something off the What's Going On album, Marvin Gaye.
I would say that in the 90s, I'm not finished yet.
If it was the remix, the Ribbon in the Sky remixes, then it'd be in my top 5 because them remixes were mind blowing.
So good, man.
Mind blowing.
I would say that if in the 90s there were loads of remakes, Jodeci started with Lately, then I think apart from Shantae Savage, I Would Survive, which was like, it's one of the best remakes ever. I listened to this and I'm thinking, wow. I prefer this to Stevie's, and I think they did it justice. And Stevie even said in that video, so it's strange, but it was powerful, and I think
it's a great. Don't get me wrong, it's a great cover version. It's up there, and they've done it justice, and but it's probably like out of everything on the album, maybe back then I listened to it least. Maybe growing up, I've appreciated a lot more. So that's probably why it's. But then again, One of a Kind Love is up there. And how good's that record? How good is One of a Kind? I can't decide which is 11 or 10. I can't leave one of them out. It's impossible.
I agree. And Nnamdi, I think we're spending too much time together because you just mentioned Shantae Savage, I Will Survive, being so good. I was just thinking that about 10 seconds before you said it. So get out of my head, man.
But Stevie, hopeful is being less hopeful that Stevie even contemplated Ribbon in the Sky number 11. But what's your number 11, Stevie?
I put One of a Kind Love at number 11. Originally, I put Ribbon in the Sky, and then I thought, no, Ribbon in the Sky needs to be in the 10 because it was such a big single, and I love the remixes. So it's a Ribbon in the Sky. Well, you know what's number 10 for me now, anyway.
So just before I give my number 11, I thought we were doing top 11. Okay, my number 11. Yeah. Liverpool were playing PSG. If you want to talk about being spanked, they were being beaten heavily, but we managed to nick it at the end. So that is,
What was the
1-0, and Harvey Elliott came in and scored in the 89th minute. But we don't deserve. Wow. We were beaten badly. They were beating us badly. So anyway, number 11 for me is So Many Reasons. and as I said, So Many Reasons.
Okay.
that was number 11 for me. But as I said, I could have just flipped the coin and picked even my top five. I'm like, which do I go? Yeah. So Vijay, what's number 10 for you?
Okay. You Nnamdi, you'll definitely hate me for this, yeah? So my number 10 is a Dave Jam Hall track. And it sounds so horrible saying a Dave Jam Hall track of Intro's incredible 1993 album is It's All About You. That's my number 10. I'm so sorry. I had to put it somewhere. It made it to number 10. So fantastic track. On another day, I'd put it at number 1, but I'm just saying right now, number 10. Sorry about
that. Okay, Stevie. Colin, you've been watching it. Stevie, what about you?
Like I say, Ribbon in the Sky at number 10. The only reason it's so high up there is because I'm concentrating on the 10 original songs.
Okay.
There's nothing. I can't say anything bad about. There's nothing bad to say about the record. The remixes were incredible, but I thought I'll concentrate more just on the original songs. So forgive me for that.
Okay. Yeah. Just before because you put it in there, but what did you think of? Because I think the Jodeci lately was almost like they just needed to put a song out, and they were surprised how well it did. And that became, everyone did a Stevie Wonder.
Well, like it's that big candle in the air moment, isn't it? That I always going on about with certain R&B songs.
Well, Blackstreet did it with Love in Need. Everybody was doing a Stevie cover, and every label says, "Okay, we need a Stevie cover. We need a Stevie cover," because it did so well with Jodeci. I think it actually was a top 10 on the billboards. It crossed over. That's how big it lately was. But as you said, I
didn't listen to Jodeci lately much, and like I say, if I had to pick one track that I listened to the least on this album, it's probably "Ribbon in the Sky," probably because it was a cover, But I hear Stevie doing it, and I'm like, you got to sit down for that.
It's funny because in the UK you call it a cover.
In that record, and it's just it blows your head away.
Yeah, it's funny because in the States they will call it a remake. And you call it a cover, so it sounds much different. It's almost like you're doing karaoke, cover version. But they'll call it, you just did a remake of the song, so it gives it a sense like you've almost remixed it in your own way. Tanya, Why Don't You Love Me at number 10? Okay, Dio has One of a Kind at number 10. All right, yours was Ribbon and Sky. I had what's my number 10 here? One of a Kind as my number 10. As I said, I think I like the fact
melodic track in it is a lovely melodic, flowing track.
It's just the ones that really stood out to me. But so that's my number 9, number 10. Okay. We're going up to number 9, Vijay. What's
my number 9 is a Novell Hodge track, and it is Don't Leave Me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this song. Nothing. It's damn near perfect. So my apologies for putting it so low. I'm going to say that until I get to number 1. So, but it's a fantastic song. Don't Leave Me is brilliant. I mean, there's layers upon layers of vocals. The vocal arrangement is stunning. But number 9 for me.
Number 9. Okay, Stevie, what did you get for number 9?
I put So Many Reasons, which by the time you got to the bottom end of the album, it got very ballad heavy towards the end, and then suddenly So Many Reasons came in and the tempo picked up, and it's a very strong mid-tempo R&B record. So many, brilliant. There's nothing bad I can say about it. On another day it could be higher up, or it could be number 11, but I think it originally I had it at number 7 or 8, and I've moved it up to. I've juggled it around a bit. I definitely knew my top 5. The rest I'm all over the place. I don't know what to do with them.
Okay,
So,
so we've got a mixture. People putting number 9 as "Why Don't You Love Me," "Ecstasy of Love," "Why Don't You Love Me," and "One of a Kind." Okay, yeah, I think I also had So Many Reasons as number 9. I think um, I think I think the ballads didn't give them the distinctness as the up tempo, mid tempo tracks did. But it's not that they were bad, but it's just more so that the more hip mid tempo were very distinct and very different, and so that's why I think I prefer the first half of it to the second half. Okay, what's number 8?
Number 8 for me is a Novell Hodge track again, and it's One of a Kind. I love it,
Okay,
but it's at my number 8.
okay,
well, we're all agreed it's like that track's at the top end of the 10. We're
Yeah,
all in kind of agreement about that track. There's one thing we can agree on, that One of a Kind love. I don't know how the listeners feel about that. Music Lover has got it at number 9, so they're kind of agreeing. I wonder why that is.
yeah.
Yeah. As I said, it's
Is it an album filler? Is it better than an album filler, do you think?
I think because the more when you think of that Love Thing, Let Me Be the One, those are very groundbreaking type of tracks, and I think when you do now get the slow jams that are okay, they were okay for the time. It doesn't have the same. It doesn't come up. They're not as memorable, and you listen to them, you like them, but you're not going to remember them as you do the big other parts of the track. Of the album. It's like the Guy album, Business. It's a great album, but you're not going to remember Business as much as you would Fantasy or Groove Me. So the balance there.
That's a good point. I like your point though. Like you say, My Business. Even though I love that track on the Guy at the end of the Guy album, the others you remember more. Fair. Yeah, it's a fair point.
Yeah, that is a fair point. But
if you ask people about this intro album, what were your main tracks? No one really goes, "Oh, One of a Kind." They're not going to say that, are they?
I don't think anybody's ever said that before. I've never heard anybody.
So it's in. I think we got that one right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, that's a little bit lower.
Yeah. So this is number. What was?
It's like that. It's like that UK. Remember that UK game show? Higher. You go higher.
Oh yeah. Play your cards right.
Play your cards right. Higher. Are you going to go higher or are you going to go lower? It's one of them.
Have you seen the MGS Man? My R&B standard is always the Guy album. No, it's not the Guy album. The Make It Last Forever album. Now that takes some beating. But no, I guess it's easy to think of that masterpiece album and think that actually there were 8 great songs. But there was 7 or 6 or 7 that were much better. What number did you go, Stevie? What was your number 8?
Good evening to DJ Swing. How you doing, sir? Number 8. I was originally gonna when I had the first draft in my head, I thought, right, this straight away is number 10. It's a generic swing record, generic blah blah blah. But the last 2 days, I've listened to it and I'm like, no, this has to be a bit further up than number 10. It is probably the most generic, formulaic kind of swing track on here. It's still great. It's still great.
What are you going to say? You're going to say, I'm going to hate this, aren't I?
Dave Jam Hall, It's All About You's at number 8.
Okay. All right. Fair. I'm all right.
Number 8.
With that.
I bumped it up a few places because I thought, no, the production's so strong on it.
It's very good.
Strong production.
I actually did have it as number 8 as well, so that's strange.
To it.
I also had it at number 8, so it's I was surprised. Yeah, I also had it at number 8. I mean, it's a Dave Hall, and you think, he's almost like the silent assassin. He's produced Michael Jackson, Madonna, but he's just, he is just the quiet assassin.
He actually did production on this album. I thought it was Eddie F, Kenny Smooth, Novell Hodge, and I'm like, hold on,
yeah,
Jam Hall.
Yeah, I mean,
he's definitely on there. He's definitely
Let Me Be the One, yeah. And okay. So yeah, we both had It's All About You at number 8. down to number 7.
Before I get to number 7, though, can I ask you guys a question if you can answer this? Tell me a song which has Heavy D on it, Kenny Green on it,
Oh,
and who else? Teddy Riley involved in it, DJ Eddie F involved in it, and Tammy Lucas.
name them again. You got who's? I'm talking about who's actually on the track vocally. Who's on the track vocally?
So, yeah, who? So Heavy D,
Heavy D,
Kenny Green. I think all of intro are on that song, but I know Kenny Green is intro. Teddy Riley, Eddie F, and Tammy Lucas. What am I talking about?
Oh gosh, you put us on the spot there.
An
Bill.
original track or a remake?
That's a good question. It's a remix.
Okay.
Do you give up? Do you give up?
No.
You don't give up. I'm going to show it to you.
Wait,
you
wait,
go.
wait,
Go.
wait.
I'll give you another. Go. Take another minute.
Okay.
Have a
If
think.
it's, I think the only one I could think of is that unless it's a remake of "Is It Good to You?"
Yes.
Okay.
The West Side remix is where it's at, because I was speaking to Eddie F about this a while back, and I said, "Is that Aaron Hall? That doesn't sound like Aaron Hall." He said, "No, that's Kenny Green." And I'm like, "What?" And then that blew my mind, and I had to share that today, because "Is It Good to You" with Kenny Green on the vocals. That remix is with Kenny Green.
I've not heard it, so that's interesting. Wow.
What about? You made me think of something here.
Go on then.
Father MC,
Yeah.
Close to You,
Yeah.
with Kenny Green on.
Yeah.
Now, me and you have heard another version that Father MC can't seem to find.
Well, he can't find that version.
I don't know if he can't, because I asked about it when we did that live interview.
Yeah, he said he doesn't. He hasn't heard. Yeah,
We've heard the version that hasn't got Kenny Green on. So there is I'm saying out there to everyone watching, there is a version, a Father MC Close to You, without Kenny Green singing and Terry and Monica singing on it.
Is that the Tomorrow and Scene track?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they took all them vocals out and they just left the Tamara and the Scene sample singing. So there's a version of that there. So just related to Kenny Green anyway. But we'll get more into Kenny Green as we're going along, because he's,
Okay. So what were we on? Number 7?
Yeah, we're number 7. But
So
I would say that's. I think that is it. Father's Day. What was the album that Father MC had?
The Close to You album.
Close to You.
Yeah, such an underrated album.
Because nobody can find there's
3 The Hard Way remix.
Yeah, nobody can seem to find that 12 with the 2 remixes on. Seems to be impossible to find. If anybody has that 12, has heard.
But you've heard it, but you can't.
No. Me and Vijay found another version that's not on that 12.
Yeah, we have.
And it wasn't called Close to You. It was called Affection.
What a tune, though.
But
man.
he kept calling. That's why he kept calling the song Affection. And I'm thinking,
they renamed it Close to You and added Kenny Green's vocals and Terry and Monica's vocals on it. But the original Close to You track was called Father MC Affection.
Oh.
With just Tamara and the Scene, the original sample. Giving away a little secret there.
Okay. Okay.
My number 7.
Number 7.
It's a Jennard Parker track, Ecstasy of Love. It was an odd track, but I really like it. I know Paul Clifford's a big fan of it, so he's probably put that at number 1 or something, but it's not that good for me. It makes my number 7, but brilliant song. Love it.
Oh, gosh. I mean, it's one of those tracks that has grown on me more over the years. I think it's outstanding now. And, it was... How many CD albums do you get when, they have the bonus tracks, and the bonus tracks are killer, and you thought, I've just got to have it. I bought the vinyl, or you might have bought the vinyl, you think, damn, I'm going to have to buy the CD now just for that bonus track. But it's an
for sure.
For
sure. There's a lot.
Got a jazzy keys in it and everything.
What did you name, Vijay?
Ecstasy of Love.
Okay. I don't understand why they do have those bonus tracks.
It was to make you buy the CD at the time.
So,
Because
so
we were
on
trying to get
to-
people off vinyl onto CD in the early 90s. And even did a little trick. Some of the companies even pressed the vinyl up at a lower mastering level, so you won't get the full quality, but you get it on the CD. And I hated that. How many vinyl albums did you buy back then? You thought, why is it not? Doesn't sound loud enough. There's something. And then you get the CD, and the CD would boom out your system.
Yeah, they would. And then there was also the Japanese releases where they'd have 1 or 2 bonus tracks. And then we'd just feel sad for about a week thinking, oh, my God, they've only put it on the Japanese version.
Listen, back then I could just about afford an import. Forget the Japanese editions.
I didn't know what a Japanese edition was. I could barely afford the $1.99 in HMV. $1.99 records. That was me back then.
Some of these guys are putting some anything for you, number 7. Come inside at number 7, Tanya. Disappointed with you. Dio, let me be the one at number 7. What guys? What? I can't imagine what your top 3 is if you're putting those heavy hitters down there. Okay. Vij, what did you have? You said Ecstasy of Love
7
was number 7. Stevie, number 7.
I actually went for the ballad "Don't Leave Me." This again.
No, baby, no, baby, no, baby. Don't leave.
Sound a bass.
That's a different song, man.
Yeah.
That's the next podcast we're doing, man. What are you doing, man?
Go ahead, Stevie.
It's like a certain I can't describe what sound it is. It's on a lot of New Jack ballads. It's on this. It's on. I just love that sound, and it's on this ballad. Don't Leave Me.
So good.
You know. I bumped this track up because I was listening to it and I thought I just love that sound. That's probably swayed my opinion on it, but another great ballad. Another great.
Yeah, I also had it at number 7, and I probably it's Who did the production? Yeah, it's Novell.
For which one?
Don't Leave Me. I also did it
Novell,
at number 7 as well. Yeah. And again, a guy influence. That's what the MTS man says. Yeah, it did have that. It did seem familiar. It did seem like an uptown type of record.
If what was it? I think Novell produced that one.
Yeah, Novell.
See, if we had him on here now, he'd probably tell me what that sound was.
And Max says all R&B groups have a "Don't Leave Me" song. But I think it's back in the 90s. It was "Don't Leave Me," "I'm Sorry," "Please Forgive Me," "Come Back Home," "I Miss You." And now it's like, bitch, come over here. It's a very different type of mindset. Back then, you beg and plead and you admit you're wrong.
It's interesting you say all that, Nnamdi, because I kind of, back then, growing up as a guy, as you would, you're chasing women or you're interested in girls. I'd follow that rhetoric. Never served me well. So any of you guys watching tonight, say you're growing up, you're under the age of 30 and you're chasing women or you're interested in women, whatever you do not. If she says she wants to go or don't chase her. Don't chase her. Don't beg her. Don't beg her, because it won't end well. Won't end well for you. So don't beg that girl back. Never get on your knees and beg her to come back.
I know he's jumping ahead. I know he's jumping ahead, but look at what Buddy is saying is his favorite track on the album. I wonder
play to him. It's a great track.
How many of us will agree with that? How many of us will agree to him? But you know, Steve, actually, I think those types of "Don't Leave Me," "Forgive Me," those tracks were pretty good though. They're those kind of songs, you know, it was a different era and we had a very different vibe. And I actually think that and then you had the women saying, oh, you know, you messed up and, you know, you don't treat me right. And so it was very much a back and forth around relationship. Very healthy.
Or whatever. You apologize. Go, yeah, you got me. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. You don't need to get on your knees. Don't hand on your masculine power to the woman. Don't give her all the power, because it won't end well for you. Believe me. Once she's in control, that's it. That is it.
But yeah, Vijay, Stevie and I both had "Don't Leave Me" at number 7.
Being very, he knows what I'm saying. He knows exactly what I'm saying.
Number 6, Vijay. What did you have for number 6? Oh, where's my number 6?
I just wanted to mention what Hopeful just said about having like long gaps before the bonus track at the end of a CD. What the hell was that about? And who came up with that stupid idea? You'd have like a 7-minute pause, and then you'd get the track at the end of it. What was that about? Madness. Anyway,
you're pressing the fast forward button.
Yeah, you're like,
yeah.
I didn't buy the CD to have 7 minutes of silence. Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 6 is Buddy's number 1.
Oh, everybody said she left. Don't leave me, but she left.
Come Inside is my number 6.
Ooh,
And I was speaking to somebody about that, and it was interesting why they put it so low. They'd put it at number 11. And I said, why do you put Come Inside at number 11? He said, I can't listen to those lyrics anymore. And he was talking about the production and the vocals. He said, everything is spot on. The melody flows, the chorus, everything about that song sits right. But the lyrics at that time were very crass. And like, I don't know if the lyrics have held up over time. That was what that person's point was. But I couldn't put it at number 11. So I put it at number 6.
Again,
Fantastic.
the remixes. Oh my gosh.
Killer remixes. Outrageous. Piano Man remix. Hello. So good.
Okay. Stevie, what's number 6
I actually
for
put
you?
Ecstasy of Love very high up. So it's number 6 for me.
Wow.
You know, I think that has stood the test of time. I think it's a quality. It's got them jazz guitar key, you know. That's what I mean. It's just something different musically, and I think it stands out now that as time goes on. So really, I think it's a high quality track. You know, it's a track that what we call the soul connoisseurs in the UK, they'll play that track. You know, that high, you know, that little, they'll go for that track. But yeah, I think it's very strong.
Yeah, I think if you pay too much attention to the lyrics and what they're singing about, it might be a little. I think maybe the secret for me was that I didn't really follow what the story was, so I'm just listening.
That's one of those late night, you know, sex quiet storm ballads. I told you this the other day. There's 3 types of ballads, and you got your quiet storm bedroom type of, you know, let's get it on ballad, and that Come Inside is one of them. But it's quite X-rated. You know?
It is, and I think those are actual vocals of something actually happening at the end of that song.
Wow.
I think it might be Jeff.
So yeah, Jeff did. Yeah, he said it when they were trying to get the vibe right, and they brought some women, some I don't know if he says strippers. I can't be to come into the studio to sort of get the vibe right, and just to finish the last part, he just wanted to see if we could just roll the tape and see if we could really capture the end parts while the others left the studio. So yeah, I think it does remind you of Aaron Hall's "Tease Me Tonight," and you're thinking, you know, does it really work for everyone listening to the album?
Well, I'd say this: if you're a male R&B artist or your male vocal group, and yeah, you've got your candle waving type ballads on there, you must do one of these tracks as well. Do a Come Inside type sex ballad. I think it's very important as a man to exude that. So I think you should do one. Very important.
Yeah. What number 6? What did Stevie had? Ecstasy of Love.
6, yeah.
And number 6, yeah. Mine is goodness. I almost feel guilty for saying "Why Don't You Love Me" at number 6.
What?
Because it was
what's outrageous, man.
I know it's what you're talking about, Willis, but it was, it was a type one. I mean, yeah, it moved around a little bit, but yeah, it was number 6 for me. Yes, yeah.
What didn't it do for you, Nnamdi? What was it, man?
No, it didn't anything. It was almost very hard to. I think I'm looking at my top 4, and it's actually my top 5. And
that actually shocks me coming from you, because you're an up-tempo New Jack Swing guy, And we just talked about Why
Yeah.
Don't You Love Me being in very much in the vein of New Jack Swing. So that's surprising.
Yeah, as I said, but see, I think when I look at my 1 to 6, they could, if I could do what Stevie used to do and start doing, I'm just going to put number two tracks at number 3. Kind of said that would I don't do that stuff. But I think my top 6 are pretty much all pretty much all on one. Let's see what Buddy says on Guys Tease Me Tonight. Aaron says, "Let me come inside. I want to bring you joy." So we're gonna use. So that's gonna be the whole song.
I won't. I was in the studio with it was me, Andrew, and we were, and with Monica, my wife. 3 of us were in the studio. We joined Novell, Buddy, and Jeff, and Jeff was occupied for a little while. He was a bit busy, and we Novell was on the keys, and for a little while, all we could hear was Jeff with his friend. Wow. That was it. That was interesting. Buddy's here, so he may recall that. That was very interesting. I just thought I'd share that.
Maybe you shouldn't have shared that. I don't know.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. It's all love.
Okay, we're down to the top 5, which, as I said, it's when I look at my stuff, there was no right or wrong answers here. But Vijay, what's your? But also, Leon is saying rest in peace,
yes,
Kenny Green. It's not just a vocal talent, but a writer and a producer, and it's. I think, that was a hit. That was a hard one. I remember when he passed, and how that just shook us, because we didn't have social media and stuff, so it was and stuff like that. But yeah, number 5 for you, Vijay.
I will share that, but do Buddy and Jeff still tour as Intro? They are doing a show in London, I believe, or in the UK somewhere. I think it's coming up.
Oh yes, East London, yeah, March 29th. So they've got Teo, formerly of Drew Hill, and he has now officially joined them. So they are a trio again, and they actually sound amazing. They actually, as a trio, they actually sound amazing. So expect some big things from Intro. Yeah, go ahead, Vijay. Number 5.
My number 5, had it been on the album, I can't see it on here. Why can't you see it? It's Intro Never Again. Why did this not make the album? Somebody tell me, why is this song not on that album? Such a good song. I had to mention Never Again because it's brilliant. But my number 5 is Dave Jam Hall tracks. So Many Reasons. I love it. Brilliant. That song just builds, and it's such a joyous song. It's stunning. So that is my number 5.
Okay. What about you, Stevie?
The big sex ballad, "Come Inside Tonight." Oh. For all the reasons I explained before, you've got to have as a man, you got to exude that on your R&B album. Never mind the candle in the airs, begging on the floor and blah blah. Get down to business, guy. Get that. Get a couple of songs on there. 90s, bump and grind sex battle were the thing back then. From about, like you say, 93 to about 96, that was the sound back then. And as you was the guy growing up, going out clubbing after girls, bring your girl back, put the CD on and play a few, then get her in the mood. Get her in the mood for it. So Come Inside was definitely a big track for me, and the remixes as well.
And Andrew remembers that day in the studio. It's hard not to remember that day in the studio, man.
Yeah, it is hard for me because I'm kicking when I first did this list, this song was number 1, then it moved to number 2. But then I would say that actually it doesn't. It's such a lovely song. I had to give it a quick listen right now just to be sure and I wish I could move it higher. But it's probably one of my best tracks on the album. I love the bounce. I love the joy it gives me, and that's Anything for
Wow.
You.
What, number 5?
Yeah, it's hard because I think the other ones that are up there are really, they really have a big impact on me. But this one is one of those ones like it just it lifts me up. So yeah, I feel bad. As I said, I started off, it was number 2, number 1, then it went to number 2. Then I just had to put it. Top 5 is hard. As I said, it's just an amazing album.
I'm scared. I don't want to hear it, man. Don't say it.
So we're down to the top 4. Vijay.
Number 4 for me. I'm putting this at number 4 mainly because of the remixes. I know it's the album track, written by Stevie Wonder, produced by Novell, and the production is flawless. It's incredible. And when you get to the remixes of this song, man, Ribbon in the Sky is everything, man. It's just stunning. And Stevie Wonder said, this is, I believe he said words to the effect of, this is the best cover of any of my songs. Something like that, I believe, or it's up there. It's one of his favorite covers of and remakes of his songs, and it's stunning. It deserves so much love, and yeah, it makes my number 4.
What about you, Stevie?
Any of these tracks from 4 to 1 could have been number 1. If this was 1993 and I was doing this top 10 based on just getting the album home and go, what's my I'd probably put this at number 1. But I think actually, as time has gone on, maybe I've heard it too many times, and it is a bit. It sounds a bit creaky now. It does sound slightly bit dated, even though it's got a big sample running through it. But it's still a massive record. Great memories of clubs. Love Thing is at number 4 for me.
Okay. I mean, as I say, you can't get any.
I mean,
at this point,
because like tracks could be number 1 for me. They're all my favourites now. Straight up to number 1.
Can I just give a shout out to the executive producer of this album, who's just joined? His name is Kevin Woodley. Thank you for joining us today, Kevin. Lovely to have you, and thank you for making this album happen and all of your input and everything that you've done with Richard Nash and Eddie F. Thanks.
Okay. Yes. So my number 4 is, as they say in the States, a remake. It gives it it gives it a different vibe than calling it a cover. But yeah, I think Ribbon in the Sky, what Buddy's just said, that I have to mention it again, that Stevie Wonder
That's
called
so
me
nice.
this past Saturday.
That's so nice.
And I totally freaked out.
Very cool, man.
and I would say that, I remember when it did come out, and yes, we had Lately and stuff, but I thought that they did something different. They brought they got the vibe, but then they made it funky as well. Loved the difference, and I would say, and I know it's very controversial, apart from Part-Time Lover, I wasn't a massive Stevie fan. He's a living legend and everything, but I preferred a lot of the remakes of his songs, and I thought this one was, to me, better than his original one. But it should be, because sometimes people can take what they've heard and add some different flavor. And I think as a group, if it was just Kenny singing it, I don't think it would have been as good. But because it was a group singing it, and the part where you hear Buddy and Jeff coming in and out, I think really gave it its made it a 90s track. So yes, so for me, Ribbon in the Sky, top 4. Couldn't got to give them their credits and stuff. But yes, top 3. Top 3. Yes, Stevie's the GOAT and everything. It's like I don't like Prince, but I don't deny that he's one of the greatest ever. But yeah, so it's
we
just a
need to
strange
talk,
thing.
man. Stevie and Prince.
I still
we need
haven't
to talk,
watched.
bro.
I still haven't watched Purple Rain. I think I'm maybe the only person around that's never watched Purple Rain. So, Chukuma is
we're going to have a
So,
jam session one
Stevie-
day, and we're going to listen to just Stevie and Prince. That's it. That's the only agenda. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can change your mind.
No, I love Stevie, please, but not as much of his music and stuff. But anyway, guess Vijay, top three.
Top
Number
three.
three.
If this was on the album, this would be number 3 for me. The Real Seduction, Ain't Nothing Wrong. Why was this not on this album? Why is this not an intro song? Shouldn't that be an intro song? Why is that not an intro song? Come on, man. It's intro. It's intro. It should be an intro song. It feels like an intro song. And same with that classic
See,
example.
there you go, talking about a one-track CD. That's what we all bought that CD for, was that track, that one
For
track.
that track, yeah,
For that
definitely.
track.
And it's an intro track.
Yeah.
And then also, what's that? You Can't Make Me Wait by Classic Example. Or Don't Make Me Wait.
Oh, yes.
That is another. Why is that not on this album? But anyway, my number 3 is by Eddie F and Novell Hodge, and it looks a little something like this. And it is arguably the best 12-inch ever released double A side with Love Thang and Let Me Be the One. You cannot fault that single. It is perfect. I know other people came in, they tried to remix these songs, Love Thang and Let Me Be the One. Neither of them needed a remix. They are all the top 3 are 10 out of 10 songs. You cannot fault any of the songs in my head. Love Thing is 10 out of 10. You can't fault it. And I need to mention the jazz version of this song because Kenny Green scatting on Love Thing is maybe the best thing ever. It is just stupendous. And I love how at the end of it, Kenny Green's asking Eddie F, hey, I hope you recorded that. It's brilliant. You have to hear the scatting by Kenny Green on that one. Love Thing is stunning. I know a lot of people would have put it at number 1, but for me, I put it at number 3. Sorry.
Let Me Be the One. Sorry, what's the number 3? Let Me Be the One.
Love Thing.
One Thing at number
Love
3.
Thing.
Wow, fair enough.
Yeah. And I have to admit, so I moved to the States in 92, and at that point I would buy albums. So like, I didn't buy singles, but always would. So a lot of these remixes you talked about, even the people I hung out with, we really bought remixes. I think one of the first people who, and I'm sure Jodeci had their stuff, but I always remember when R. Kelly did the remix of Nothing Wrong with Bump and Grind, and how that remix took him to another level and the album blew up and stuff. I only started getting into remix when Blackstreet came out, and I was buying the maxi single and stuff like that. But so a lot of these remixes that you talk about, as I said at that time, I just didn't hear them. It was only when Napster came out that I was like, wow, there are different versions of the song. And that's when everything came out, because I think in Europe, you guys were really spoiled where they were really exporting a lot of these mixes, because the rule was we need to sell the album. So, like Blackstreet's Don't Leave Me, they didn't come out with a single because they needed to push the album. So most of the times they were pushing the album. So we weren't getting a lot of those remixes that you guys were getting in Europe. So that's the benefit that you guys had.
We had to be in the record shops at the weekend. They were mainly for DJs. So if you was in them record shops every week buying that stuff, you'd hear them remixes, or you'd have to be listening to certain stations, certain special radio shows, playing them mixes to have an appreciation of them. So
yeah, I mean, as I said, all the records, Best Buy, Tower Records, they were just Walmart. You just go in there, you're buying the whole album for $8.99. Much cheaper than it was here in the UK. So you're buying the album and stuff. And yes, somebody who's really into it, you may play the remix, but even the stations were not really playing the mixes. They were playing the original stuff to push the album.
Well, you got to remember, the stations got sent. They either got sent a vinyl promo or a vinyl a CD single, and the first thing that'd be on the CD was the radio edit. So they'd go and there'd be a press sheet explaining who the artist was and about him, and they'd be highlighting the radio mix. So they just that mix was specifically for the radio. So that's
Joseph asked, didn't I buy the Bobby remix album? I actually won that on BET. So I got the Bobby remix album, the Mary remix album, and the Shy remix album on a competition on BET. I think the Mary one is probably my favorite of all of them. But anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, it's just to say that when you guys talk about remixes and I'm thinking, wow, goodness, when I was there and I would always buy it, go to a record store, it was pretty much mainly the album. There wasn't a big selection for CD singles in the major retailers. Maybe if you go to the small indie ones, you could probably get them, or maybe where the DJs shop. But the average person, you wouldn't really. It wasn't pushed as much. So that's interesting that you guys think about. You always talk about the singles and this mix, and I'm thinking, wow, I've never heard those ones because they wasn't pushed at the time.
There was a remix of that I didn't find out until many years later. And this was thanks to a guy called Soul Guru who told me about it. It's Jeff Red's You Called and Told Me. So I knew the original, written by Eric Miltier and produced by Dave Jam Hall off the Strictly Business soundtrack. And then he said there's a version with intro on it. And I said, shut up, man. What are you talking about? There's a version with intro. What are you talking about? He said, no, there is. It's amazing. It's so good. Then I heard it and he played it in his car. I died. I couldn't believe that this remix exists. That is maybe the greatest remix ever. The Dave's remix of Jeff Red, You Called and Told Me, with intro on backing vocals is outrageous. It is so good. And why is that not on this album? I'm just kidding.
It is. Which did you see first? Because that promo, that Jeff Red remix promo, I never saw it in Manchester at the time. What I did see, there was a 4-track bootleg. It had a green label on, and red, and it had Shinehead Try My Love on it. It had that Jeff Red remix on.
Shinehead, love it.
Did you ever see that bootleg in London?
I'm not sure. That doesn't ring a bell. Not sure. It doesn't ring a bell.
That's how we got to hear that remix in Manchester anyway, with that bootleg.
Nnamdi, do you know that remix?
Oh, not many remixes.
You need to hear this. We'll sort it out so that you can listen to that. We'll send you the link somehow. But Dave's remix, oh my God, it is stunning. It is stunning. Intro, kill it on that.
Why has it never been issued on a promo CD single?
Yeah, you know what they did? I heard about that because there is a promo CD single, but they put the wrong mixes. They said the mixes are called so and so on the CD single promo, but they got the mixes wrong. That's the story about that.
I've got the CD single, but I've never lit. I don't think I've kept it mint. So what are the mixes? It lists it as the bass mix, club, hip hop mix.
No, do you remember Jodeci's "What About Us" Jeep mix?
Yes,
it's like that.
Oh, okay.
It's exactly the same as the original. They've just given it a different name, and they're taking the mickey out of us. Somebody's laughing at whoever has bought that, and me and you have both got that CD single, and we've both been ripped off. But that's a separate conversation.
Well, the bass mix takes the beat out, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's
is that on the CD? I need to listen to it. Is that on the CD single at the end?
Yes, the bass mix is, but it's not. It's without bass, I think.
Yeah, without bass, It's just the groove bass, isn't it? Anyway, where are we up to?
Well, number 3 for you, Steve.
Seeing as I've got a question related to the number 3 that I'm going to ask you both. It's a great question, but it's an impossible question. Nnamdi, there's 3 telephones, going back to the 90s here. There's 3 telephones. You know them phones that you went like that? You've got 3 phones in front of you now, right? They all ring at the same time. On one line is Teddy Riley. On another line is Michael Jackson. And another line is David Foster. They're all ringing at that. I'm going to select yours. They're all ringing at the same time. You can only answer one. You can who are you gonna pick up first? Teddy Riley, Michael Jackson or David Foster?
Ah, damn it! That "Unbreak My Heart" is such a track, though.
But which call are you gonna pick?
As much as Teddy is in there, but MJ was always number one. Teddy was 2, Spielberg was 3. So those are my 3
Teddy Riley
Mount
call.
Rushmore. Over Michael, even he would understand.
All right, Vijay, same question to you. 3, Teddy
Come
Riley.
on, man.
Teddy Riley.
You're gonna pick up Michael Jackson.
No.
Obviously.
This is even harder for you. Teddy Riley.
Okay.
Michael Jackson. Prince. Who
Can
you
I
gonna
swear
pick?
on here?
What?
Can I swear on here?
You bastard. Teddy Riley, Michael Jackson, or Prince? Which you gonna pick first?
You bastard. This is okay. I don't know. I don't like this question. All right. That's an impossible. I can't. It would be between, but for me, it would be between Michael and Prince. I love them both equally.
Who are you gonna take? Which call are you gonna take first? Because I guarantee there's probably some bigwig back in the day in a record company sat in his office, and he's probably got 2 of them on hold, and he's answering the call to another one.
All right, for me, Prince, Michael, Teddy. I'll change that by the end of this conversation, but that's not the point. Right now, it's Prince, Michael, and Teddy. All right, I've changed my mind already. Now
I would
Prince and Teddy. That's new order now.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't even think. Mike's always number 1. Then Teddy was always number 2. Teddy would even say, "Yeah, pick up the call, Mike, and let me know what he says." So, anyway, number 3 for you,
me,
Stevie,
was the other big, huge swing track, and probably in 1993. God, this was my go-to track back then, and it probably would have been number 1 in 1993. But again, maybe I've just played it too many times that the edges wore off on me. But Why Don't You Love Me is at number 3. Oh God, it was at number 2, and I've inched it out to number 3. Why Don't You Love Me is at number 3. Huge track,
big tune, man.
But probably because I played it one. You know when you play something so many times that you hit it and the edge just comes off it. That feeling you have the first 20 times you play it where you're blown away, and you overplay it where you're like, it's just one of them, innit? I've overplayed that record. Same with Love Thing, I've overplayed it.
Well, I think about when we talk about overplay. Hey, we got a special guest coming in.
Yeah, not that special.
Mr. Buddy.
Hey,
we're celebrating your album, so of course you're a special guest. When
I'm
we're
listening and I'm enjoying it so much, man. Thank you guys for sharing your platform with us. Appreciate you. You know, you're really good friends of ours. So, like, really, really, really nice meeting you, also, Steve.
How you doing, sir? Right.
Good, man.
Hey, buddy. Long time. How are you doing, man?
Long time. I'm good, man. I'm good. Yep. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys in a little bit.
Good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So,
but for those who are watching in, big fans of the album, what are your memories, your last memories of making this debut album? And did you think it'll have the impact it did on R&B?
First of all, I'd like to apologize for the noise in the background. But making the album song by song, going over to Dave Hall's house, going to Novelle's house, and after we would record these songs, they would give it to us on cassette to listen to. And as we're driving back from Mount Vernon to Brooklyn and listening to them, I honestly felt like it was something different than what we was listening to on the radio. But I had no idea that Atlantic Records and Untouchables would take it as far as they took it. It was just fun and amazing. And I'm not gonna stay on here because I'm enjoying the show. I just wanted to pop on here. I put in the comments.
Yeah.
Stop. I'm on the phone. I put in the comments that this Saturday morning I actually came down from my hotel and I was sitting at the bar and I had my ringer off and I had my phone sitting like face down, and I looked down and it says Stevie Wonder. and I started hyperventilating. Stevie Wonder called me this past Saturday, and I spoke to him for like 5 minutes, and it was just like it just took me back to the whole '90s again and the whole experience, and I couldn't thank him enough. And I just want to give him his flowers here on this chat. Thank you for Ribbon in the Sky. I say "Come Inside" is my number one song because it was it was like a number one like commercial success for myself. It did a lot for my mom and my family and stuff. But there's so many good songs on that album. "Don't Leave Me." I wrote it. I was in the military. Had a young lady writing me every day that she loved me. She loved me, and got home. She had another boyfriend. So was at Eddie F's house, and I was sitting at the kitchen table, and I was just writing it out. "Don't leave me. We were in love, and now you tell me that you want to turn and walk away." And I'm kind of talking it out loud, and Kenny jumps right in, and then before you know it, it just was "Don't leave me." But she left. She left. The bitch left.
Oh God, goodness. No, I mean, you guys had the Untouchables before they really blew up and stuff. What's the difference between Dave Hall and Novell when you guys were working with them?
The difference between Novell and Dave is that Dave worked extremely quick and Novell took his time. It was like microwave and oven music. Novell would take 2 weeks to finish the song, and Dave would take like 2 hours. All of the songs with Dave Hall, "Let Me Be the One," maybe 2 hours. "Funny How Time Flies," maybe an hour and a half. I'm talking about production and lyrics. Novell, "Come Inside," 2 weeks. "Ribbon in the Sky," 2 weeks. Yeah, but it was great, and I do have to jump off for here. You guys, man, it's
Yeah,
been
man.
such an honor. I'm gonna stay on and enjoy this, but I'm gonna just sit here and enjoy this just with everybody else. I want to thank everybody that commented in the comments and stuff. If you've been rocking with Intro for the past 30 years, we appreciate you guys. And if you're in London, come hang out with us on March 29th at 26 Lake Street. Teo Soprano is our lead singer now, and we're gonna come in and just have an amazing time.
Nice to see you
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
buddy. You
And we'll
take
try
care,
and get.
man.
Same here, always,
Yeah.
brother.
Take
Okay,
care.
now.
Thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Peace.
Take care. Oh man, how was that, man?
Awesome.
So that's why sometimes we do this stuff, and I remember when we did and Father MC. Was it Father MC or no? It was Jimmy Jenkins, Uptown co-founder, jumped on and he was cooking as he was talking to us. But yeah, but I love, yeah. Thanks, buddy. Buddy's a great guy. But I mean, look at the stories, man. Can you just imagine just a woman playing you like that, and then and stuff. Yes. So we were going on number 3, right? Stevie, you had
Why Don't
love.
You Love Me
You
was at
had
number 3.
Why Don't You Love Me? I think my number 3 is the first single that came out. Sounded like it was a R&B, a hip hop track, and all of a sudden, you start to hear the singing. It almost sounds like they did reminisce the way that the vocals start off with, and we had the only track that Eddie F produced on this album, and it's "Love Thing." It just caught you differently. It was like, wow, what is this? So yeah, "Love Thing" was is number 3 for me. Great. I mean, listen to it. You're thinking, I can't remember the name of this rap group. I can still see the video when they work. If anyone can remember, they were out of the East Coast, and in their no, in their video they were going backwards. The whole video was almost like it was shot with them going backwards. I think I'm thinking Far Side, but I don't know if that's who I'm thinking. I can't remember, but some of you might remember that this was about 93, 94. The video was if the hip hop group rapping and everything was backwards. I think it was Far Side. I can't remember, but anyway, I'm listening to it and I'm thinking this is proper New York hip hop track, and yeah, love, amazing song. Yeah, it's Far Side. Yeah, it was Far Side. and it felt like a track that they
Slow down, Brand
I can't
Nubian.
remember the name of
Well,
that.
that was what.
No, it was Far Side.
Far Side,
It
okay.
was Far Side. But it just listening to the track, it just really Far Side. It just gave me, it was the Drop the Music video. Yeah, it just gave me that vibe of, man, this is backwards. Yeah, it just gave me the vibe of a hip hop track, hip hop and stuff. I think it was Pass Me By. Let me see. Maybe it is Pass Me By. I'm just quickly looking at it. Anyway, I can't find it. Yeah, but anyway, so that's number 3 for me. Love Thing. Vijay. So number 2 for
I will
you.
get to that. I just wanted to share a couple of things. So Stevie, you mentioned the 10-track LP. That's this one.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it. That's the 10-track one. So that had only 5 tracks on each side. So that was what was promoted first. Then Stefan Druic, I don't know how you pronounce his surname. He did this compilation relatively recently with 3 bonus tracks. And I love the pressing of this one. There's an orange vinyl and a green vinyl in here. But they added 3 songs from this New Life album. My Love's on the Way. Feels like the first time in New Life. Now, when you're adding tracks, it's always subjective. For me, the song that should have been on here is Strung Out on Your Loving, but that's just my personal choices. I think that's one of the most stunning tracks intro I've ever done. Rodney Jerkins production, absolute killer. But this is fantastic. So if you haven't bought this test press, this limited run double LP of Intro's album, you should try and seek it out. My number 2 is a track by Dave Jam Hall, and it is Let Me Be the One. And this is incredible song. This song is perfection. This is Andrew Knight's favorite song. He is very excited by this particular song, and I can understand why. I listen to this a lot, and I think this edges Love Thing by the smallest of margins. I think Love Thing's a 10 out of 10. I think Let Me Be the One is a 10 out of 10. But I think Let Me Be the One just slightly edges it. And that's my number 2.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can't go wrong with that. The song I was thinking about is Far Side Drop. I don't know if you remember the song Drop by Far Side. Yeah, but I listened to when I listened to Love Thing, it just like that's that kind of hip hop type of track, and they're singing on it. But that's definitely Let Me Be the One, definitely a good one. Stevie, number 2 for you.
I didn't really appreciate this track back then, but the last few years, it's the first when I go to play this album, or I'll go back on YouTube, or I'm on public transport on the way home, and I go back to it. It's the first track I play. It's the first track I go to. I even thought, should I just put it at number 1? But Anything for You has made number 2 for me.
Nice track.
Wow.
Just kills me. Absolutely kills me. I'm not tired of hearing it. Them goosebumps are still there. So, like I say, it's just funny how some tracks you play a lot back then, don't play them as much now, and these others, but that's ended up at number 2. Don't ask me how.
I feel bad now. I put it at number 11.
I know, but I just think it's stunning.
It's a brilliant song. I love it.
It's like how did this track back then not? How did I not overplay this track back then? But I'm overplaying it now.
Good. No,
I can't explain it.
Nothing. Would you have liked to see this as a single?
Should it have been a single?
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant album cut. I don't think it's a single.
Okay.
If I'm really honest, it's a brilliant album cut, but it's not a single.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, and I think sometimes I think about, I would have loved to see, people are going to say I go back to this album. I would have loved to see One More Chance on the Bobby album as a single, but 6.5 minutes, it would have been very hard to trim it down to a radio edit. And it's just, so some songs you just like I can enjoy it on the album. Favorite song ever, "Lady in My Life." It wasn't a single, but it's my favorite song ever, and I can't hear it too often, or I'll fall out of love with it. So it's. I minimize how often I listen to
Can
it.
I ask you a question about "The Lady in My Life"? Did you see that thing about the Rolling Stones recently, where I think you shared it. We shared it in that group as well. Like "The Lady in My Life," they said was the worst song on Thriller. Which
In fact, that it
crackhead
would
was
have.
that?
They should have just.
What is wrong with people?
Yeah. So the Rolling Stones the reporter said that it actually spoiled the album. If it wasn't on the album, it would have been a better album.
Rolling Stone
And
should have
of
sacked
course,
him for
everyone
that.
would-
He should have been sacked.
No, he should. Yeah, give him his P45.
I mean, you had everyone from Jermaine Dupri, Brian. They said really taking offense, saying this is why they don't appreciate us. I mean, the best song, Michael's best song. They were saying it was almost like a waste and not understanding. So anyway, I'm getting a little emotional now. Let me.
I mean,
No,
what is
listen, let me
it?
just
Even more,
I have to calm down because
Yeah,
I
man,
was
it's all right,
really getting
man.
angry. I was going to.
what's
all
all
right,
the
man.
travesty
Don't worry,
about that song though is the verse that they've left out. Have you Vijay? Have you heard the original extended version of that record?
Of which one?
Lady in My Life.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
They left the verse out, didn't they?
That is stunning. The demo.
It's because of they've
They couldn't fit it on the vinyl. They couldn't fit the whole extended. But we're going on Michael Jackson. Let's get back to
Yeah. That's another podcast.
I am really boiling up.
Sorry. Forget about that. Forget about
You know
that.
what, guys? Let him cry. Let the guy cry. It gets everybody else crying on our time chat. Let's have a good cry with Nnamdi.
So you get yourself together. I just wanted to share these two things. So this is like, you can't see it on here. I don't know what's going on with the screen.
Because you've got that background when you get the.
Okay, this is the promo cassette. Can you see that?
Yep.
And this is the cassette with the sticker. I love these little stickers.
They're amazing, aren't they?
Like I used to keep those stickers. I was like really weird like that. So on the sticker it says includes Love Thing, Let Me Be the One, Ribbon in the Sky, and Come Inside, and then it's got the catalog number. I love those stickers. So cool.
I'm worse than that. Any CDs that I buy now, they're still sealed. I can't even open them.
Yeah,
I've done like seal with the sticker on, and I just keep them in my collection. I'm like, what am I doing? I've got like a record shop full of sealed CDs that I've never opened.
Yeah, I do the same. It's really dumb. There's no point. And Anyway, I'm the same. That's a podcast in itself. How weird we are.
I mean, okay, I'm getting emotional looking at these things now. I mean, just can you imagine that? And they're saying it's the worst song on Thriller. The fact it spoiled the album. So anyway, Stevie, number 2 for you.
I've done number 2. Is anything for you?
Oh, I thought it was your number.
Number 3.
Okay.
So we're at your number 2.
Okay, my number 2.
Now.
Yes. My number 2 is yes, I think it's similar to you, Vijay. Dave Hall, Let Me Be the One.
Why are you both?
The one to come running to, let me be the one. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, we've said enough about that. It's just, and they released it as the second single, and as I said, it really just made his impact. And Dave Hall, as Buddy just said, 2 weeks. 2 hours, sorry, to get it, 2 hours or so to get it done. That shows you how good he is. Miss J, Rolling Stone was definitely, Miss J has joined us as well.
You'll get a boxing
so that's
gloves on for the editor. He'll be getting boxed by now.
Okay, so guys, I know you guys, as we were going through, you guys were putting your top 10 alongside us. Now we're going to go back from 11 down to 1. starting with you, Vijay. Do you want to just go back and go through your 11 down to 1?
So my number 11 was reluctantly Anything for You. My number 10 was It's All About You. Number 9 was Don't Leave Me. Number 8 was One of a Kind Love. Number 7 was Ecstasy of Love. Number 6 was Come Inside. Number 5 was So Many Reasons. Number 4 was Ribbon in the Sky. Number 3, my top 3 are all interchangeable. I could change them and I'd be happy with anywhere any of them are. Love Thing is number 3. Let Me Be the One is number 2. And my number 1 is Why Don't You Love Me? Because, firstly, you mentioned the difference between Dave Hall and Novell Hodge. And Buddy just described it as he compared it with microwave food and oven food. I love Dave Jam Hall. Dave Jam Hall is an incredible producer, so talented. But Novell is the detail man. He is very detail oriented and he puts a lot of energy into the little bits and pieces that he adds. And Why Don't You Love Me is at number 1 for me because it's a song that makes me feel a particular way. Every time I hear it, it's as if I'm hearing it for the first time. I can listen to this song on repeat and it's as if I've heard it for the first time. I'm as excited now listening to that song as I was when I first heard it. It is absolute perfection. You cannot fault this song. And it's one amazing song off an album of amazing songs. This whole album is perfection. And I can't state how good this album is. People seem to forget who Intro are and the contribution they've made to R&B. They deserve to be at the very top of the food chain. And this is arguably for me the best R&B album that's ever been made. And it's definitely, well, in the 90s for sure. 90s R&B, I should specify the 90s. 80s is a different conversation. 70s is a different conversation as well. But 90s R&B, I'd say that this is probably up there. You could probably include several artists in that kind of conversation. I'd include Blackstreet's debut album. I'd include Belle Biv DeVoe's debut album and their remix album. I'd include all of the Jodeci albums, Horace Brown's Uptown album, and maybe Anthony Hamilton's Ecstasy album. They're the albums that I put on that level, but I do think Intro is the top of the food chain, and Why Don't You Love Me is my top choice, and that's why it's number 1.
Okay, it is the main New Jack track on the album, and it has if you listen to this and then listen to Someone for Me, you can hear some similarities and stuff. But yeah, well done, Vijay. Stevie,
number 11, One of a Kind Love. Number 10, Ribbon in the Sky. Number 9, So Many Reasons. Number 8, It's All About You. Number 7, Don't Leave Me. Number 6, Ecstasy of Love. Number 5, Come Inside. Number 4, Love Thing. Number 3, Why Don't You Love Me. Number 2, Anything for You. And my number 1, I've got 2 big reasons for this. 2 very big reasons. One was my memories at the time, because I alluded to it earlier, that it was just being played everywhere in Manchester. I would see people running on the dance floor to dance to this record. You know, my good friend Ian Basol Smith would play it, Leaky Fresh. All them guys were playing it in the clubs. I'd hear it on the pirate radio. I'd flip that 12-inch just to play that. So I've just got so many good memories of hearing this out on a Saturday night, or even back then we was going clubbing 2 or 3 times a week. We'd get like a midweek Wednesday night in, and it had to be at work the next morning. So that's one reason. The other big reason is this. There's a lot of Gen Zers rediscovering or wanting to rediscover 90s R&B. They're not fully, I don't think they fully know what 90s R&B is yet. They just see the videos on YouTube and the way they're shot in the film, and they're hearing certain tracks and they don't know whether to pick a track from Aaliyah or, go. They're kind of all over the place with the 90s R&B. this for me is still yet to be discovered by the Gen Z generation. The other bit of it is the way this starts, the intro. I mean, you know, no pun intended, but the way it starts, the intro to it, it's completely original. It's not been sampled. The same, the way it drops, the whole, someone's going to sample that and make it, but someone will sample it. Might be a rock band or whatever, and they'll have a huge hit out of it. But Let Me Be the One, it's the only number one on this album. It's a classic 90s R&B record yet to be discovered. I'm saying it here today. So let me don't try to have a number one for me. And there it is. That's my reasons why Let Me Be the One is at number one.
Brilliant choice, Stevie.
Okay. Yeah, as I said, I had it on my number 2, and as I mentioned, amazing track. I had number 10, One of a Kind. Number 9, Ecstasy. No, number 11 was One of a Kind. Number 10 was Ecstasy of Love. Number 9, So Many Reasons. Number 8, It's All About You. Number 7, Don't Leave Me. Number 6, Why Don't You Love Me. Number 5, Anything for You. Number 4, Ribbon in the Sky. Number 3, Love Thing. Number 2, Let Me Be the One. And I think when I think of my number 1 track, it's I think one of the things I miss about 90s R&B was the use of the back in the chorus. You know, that defined a lot of 90s R&B. You know, having other people singing. Uptown were great at doing that. You know, Uptown, when you think of, say, Christopher Williams or a lot of other stuff, you'd have somebody singing and almost like somebody's answering back, or listen to the Tony Braxton stuff. That's what you loved about 90s R&B. It wasn't just the one person singing. I must admit that when I listen to this song, I kind of listen to the music and the melodies. I don't necessarily get too caught up in the lyrics, but then and so I'm able to filter a little bit out. But I do love Come Inside. I think it was one of the things that was like, oh, okay. You know, they came out with something hip hop on R&B, but when they did the Come Inside, it was the type of R&B track that other people started to perfect on. So R. Kelly switching to doing a lot of that type of stuff. H-Town doing this type of that type of R&B, and you know, I think one of Novel's best productions with this. And I don't know who the female backing singer was that was in there, but that's the beauty of that kind of production, when you're hearing her singing alongside them. So I think Come Inside, you know, I agree with Buddy as this being my favorite and probably the best song on the album. But as we said from the beginning, that you can't go wrong with anything. It is such a pity that they didn't get they haven't really been given the due credit that they deserve. You know, and as I said, I think we said earlier that if they had taken Reminisce and Real Love and stuff, and I don't think it would have done. I think it just sounded like Mary. It needed to be with Mary. It gave them more exposure because they could see that it was they're part of that. And yeah, definitely, I'm glad that we were able to celebrate this album. MGS Man had So Many Reasons as number 1. Yeah, you know, I love the fact. I love the fact that we're all very different in what we picked. I love the fact that we rated the songs differently. It shows that it's a great album that we couldn't get wrong.
Vijay's got his definitive list as well to do.
So this definitive list I do
ahead.
every time at the end of these shows. This is a compilation. This is a combined total of all the lists that are submitted to me. So it's quite a balanced list. It's not subjective. It's objective, based across the board from everybody that submitted a list. So on everybody's combined list, Number 11 was One of a Kind Love. Number 10, and Stevie will be probably happy with that because that's where he wanted to put it. Number 10, It's All About You. Number 9, Don't Leave Me. Number 8, Ecstasy of Love. Number 7, surprisingly, Ribbon in the Sky. Number 6, surprisingly, Come Inside. Number 5, Anything for You. Number 4, Why Don't You Love Me? Number 3, So Many Reasons. Now, number 2, little bit surprising. Number 2 is Love Thing, which means that Let Me Be the One is number 1. And that is the combined total, combined list from everybody. So interesting list. And that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that we were able to give the spotlight to intro. I'm really honored that Buddy took his time to join in, and we appreciate the fact that, you know, they just, did you get the vinyl, Stevie? Because I know they just reissued
Get the vinyl.
a vinyl.
I need to get that reissue actually.
You have to, man. It's really good. But
I think I've just, you know, with buying vinyl online, you know, I've got this terrible fear that it'll end up, the post it'll come snapped in the post. You know, one of those. I'll get it though. I'm waiting to see it in store, but I'll probably have to buy it online.
And I wanted to just give one person a shout out. They do some phenomenal remixes of intro stuff. Intro's their favorite group, and it's a guy from Germany called Kevin Moore. He's on here, Kev the Chef. He does some.
Yeah, he mentioned about
he does some brilliant remixes, and I really like them. And I'm not really generally a fan of fan-made music, but Kevin always seems to hit the mark. So thank you for all that you do, man.
There is one track that we all intro fans do want to see come out though, because we only got like one verse of the chorus. Was Put Me On.
Oh, Eddie F track. Lovely.
Teasing us with that, but did they ever finish it? Was there a second verse and another chorus and a bridge?
I think the full.
Oh, if you had waited to when Buddy was here, we could have asked him.
But he
so
wanted
he
to
could
get off. He, you know, I thought,
But Buddy, if you're still on,
we
if
all
you're still
want
watching,
that track
Buddy,
to come out so
answer?
bad, don't we? You know,
I think it's very difficult because they recorded so, because you know they were part of Untouchables, so they were recording so much music. They probably have more than 50 songs. They just have a lot of songs.
It's an idea for Eddie F. Don't give it to Spotify because you won't make any money out of it on Spotify. Record Store Day 2026. Do a limited 500 to 1,000 12-inch pressing of it, and you will sell them all. Because I'm guaranteed all the intro fans will queue outside them record to buy it on Record Store Day. Do it as a one-off special. Just Put Me On and maybe another track on the B-side. And you'll sell them. Don't put it on Spotify and make no money. At least you'll make your money back on that 12-inch run then. So
I had a chat
item for the fans.
Thanks, John. Go ahead, Vijay,
I had a chat with Eddie F some time ago, and he's got a lot of unreleased tracks. And we spoke about Put Me On a little, and I said, I know him a little, so I said, what's wrong with you? Why would you not have put that out, man? And he said, I want to put it out, and I've got other songs that I want to put out, but I need to do something in a way that he's got to make money from it. You don't want to just release it and not make any money. So Stevie, if DJ Eddie F is watching this, then maybe you should listen to Stevie's suggestion and see if there's something that can be done there. But we would love to hear all of that stuff that you kept in the archives and just kept sitting there for 20, 30 years. We'd like to hear it if that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, they've mentioned it. There's just so much unreleased stuff that they all have.
Put that comment up from Hopeful, whoever Hopeful is, please, about visited Rough Trade. Vijay, have you ever been to Rough Trade in Shoreditch? I've been there. It's a great shop.
I like it. It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's a good shop. It's a very good shop.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is what Buddy just said.
Coming soon.
Put me on coming out soon.
Like I say, don't put it on. Don't give it away to
As
Spotify.
per Eddie
Don't
F.
give it to Spotify to make their billions out of it. Get it as a limited pressing on Record Store Day or something.
Yeah. And
yeah. Oh, but Buddy's here. What was the
12
track?
inches of it, or 500, and even charge $30 for them. You're gonna make your money. You're gonna make bump up that, because make it a good expense. You'll make your money on that.
yeah, and people like me and Stevie are weird, man. We'll buy 2 copies.
Well, the thing is, Record Store Dates 1 per customer, unless you buy it.
Oh man, get it.
And you'll have to get up. You'll have to queue. You'll have to queue in your log at 6 in the morning to get it.
And can I just present one last thing? Do you guys feel like, all the tracks that Kenny Green and Intro wrote for other artists?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that any and all of those songs would have been better if Intro had done the vocals on them? Like, just think about it. Like, there's a lot of songs. Like, there's Mary J. Blige. We talked about that. SWV, Give In To Me. Father MC, Close To You. And I think Tanya mentioned Do the 1-2 before. Christopher Williams, Where Is the Love? Real Seduction, Ain't Nothing Wrong. There was that track off Eric Gable's album. What was that called? Don't Want to Hurt Nobody. What a song, man. Can you just imagine Intro singing that? I'd be done, man.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, but it's like saying, what if the Babyface had sang Every Little Step and Roni? I think, sometimes songs sound, I can't imagine Mary not singing. If you listen to the 411 now, you think.
I understand what you're saying now, but for me, if Kenny Green had sung, if Intro had sung those songs, it would have been over. And I understand what people are saying. Like, the thing is, like, I think we all, like, when Mary J's album came out, we saw that cover. It was like kind of a sepia tone. We couldn't quite see her face. Beautiful woman, and we think she's got such a great voice. And we all had a crush on Mary J. Blige. Anybody tells me they didn't have a crush on Mary J. Blige, they're lying, yeah? So there was that element, and then we wanted to like that project, and we did. You Remind Me, or Strictly Business, fantastic. But if Kenny Green and Intro, if they'd done those songs, and if that's what we'd heard first, then we wouldn't have known Mary J. Blige's version. Then maybe we would have liked Intro's version of that. I'm just saying, it's because we heard it first. If we'd heard Babyface sing Every Little Step, maybe we would have liked that more. We don't know, because we didn't hear it first. I mean, just the food for thought anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, guys, we definitely appreciate Buddy for joining us. We always appreciate you guys. Tanya, I know it's late out where you are, and I appreciate the fact that for the first time you've made it through. Colin, long time no see. Kev the Chef and MGS Man and Zach and Hopeful and everyone, and Mac, everyone who has joined in. We really appreciate you guys, because it's not just 3 of us talking. Everyone that's been commenting has been part of the show, so we definitely appreciate that. And we're continually celebrating this music. We want to. It's sad that we lost Angie Stone this past weekend. It's sad that Dwayne Wiggins from Tony, his family just sent an update that he's not doing too well. So we want to be able to celebrate these guys while they're still alive. We don't want to wait until they pass and say our tribute. So we're trying to do as much as we can to celebrate them while they're still around. But for Intro, they're back. Teo as the lead singer, and as I said, their harmonies are amazing. So please check them out. I'm going to get all 3 of them on this show, and they are coming to London, and they're going to be around the US as well. So Vijay, Stevie, really appreciate the time this evening. Mr. Knight, welcome. Appreciate you shining in. And next week is Blackstreet. This Saturday it is What's the 411, and I can't remember. I think the Control album is probably towards the end of the month. So
a Wednesday night
lot.
will be busier than a Sunday night. you all.
This is-
Thank you all
Yes.
for tuning in. I'm blown away. Absolutely blown. You could have been doing
lovely to have
anything
all
anything
of
else
you.
in the world tonight. Any other platform, watching football, you know, whatever you could have. You know, we're so grateful. We're so grateful to have you with us this evening.
Yes, yes. And even I was watching football as well. So lucky my team won.
I'll tell you what, though, as the shepherd said to the sheepdog, we've got to get the flock out of here.
Okay, guys. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys.